guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all on my experience with having a stretch and sweep, or if you're based in America or elsewhere, I think it's called membrane sweep. So basically this is a form of natural induction in a way. It is invasive, I guess, and it's not really that pleasant. So when I knew that I was having this procedure done, the first thing I did was kind of look on YouTube videos to see other people's experiences. Couldn't really find anything that was that detailed, so I wanted to share my honest opinion of it, how it felt, how I felt afterwards. Pretty much no bullshit, no sugarcoating, true experience of having your membranes swept. So firstly, I wanted to say, of course, letting labour happen spontaneously is amazing, and I know that, you know, this obviously is a medical intervention and it's not really that natural, but sadly for some people, labour just doesn't happen spontaneously. I know that pregnancy and labour is a very natural thing and our bodies are designed to do it, but sadly, some people do need help. And if our bodies were perfect, then there would be no complications with any pregnancy or any labour in the history of giving birth. So sadly, some people do need a little bit of extra help, and I was definitely one of those people. My doctor said she didn't want me to go over 41 weeks, and I did have a induction scheduled, and so this is the reason why I had some stretch and sweeps done to try and get labour to happen spontaneously so I didn't have to be induced. Sadly, wasn't the case for me, but yeah, as much as I would have loved to go into labour naturally, it just isn't possible for some people. Some people do need help going into labour, and there's no shame in that, and you should never feel guilty for needing help to go into labour, because, you know, a healthy, happy baby and healthy, happy mom is the best outcome. So yeah. Alright, so you might be wondering what a stretch and sweep is. So basically it's considered a more natural form of induction. It is considered a mechanical form of induction because it is using things that are kind of not natural in a way, but it is definitely a more gentler form of induction rather than going to the prostaglandin gels or more of the intense drugs like the synthetic oxytocin to induce labour. So basically what it is your doctor will insert their finger through your vagina, through your cervix, so your cervix does need to be dilated at least 1 centimetre to have a membrane sweep, or they can kind of massage your cervix to help it open. They insert their finger and basically do a 360 sweep to strip their membranes, as it's called. So it is invasive. It doesn't really feel that pleasant. I'll go more into that later on anyways, but it is just to help get the ball rolling. So many doctors will recommend this if they know that you are probably going to be induced. So they'll try and get a membrane sweep done first to help get the ball rolling, to hopefully get you to go into spontaneous labour so you don't have to go the full induction method. So I think the success rate of this is about 25%. Those 25%, they will actually go into labour within the next 24 hours spontaneously. So like most things, there are some risks involved. Of course, your doctor will go through this with you. You do not have to have a stretch and sweep if you do not want to have a stretch and sweep. Obviously, this is something that you will need to consider yourself and talk to your doctor with. But I think the main risk is your doctor accidentally rupturing your waters, because obviously they are going up to touch the waters basically and go just under the waters. And also, based on my research, there is a low risk of having some type of infection because obviously it is a foreign body entering your cervix. But in my case, no infection, nothing like that, which was awesome. I have also heard that, you know, it can cause other medical interventions later on down the track. My personal experience and personal experience of many of my other friends that have had this procedure done is it did not cause any other medical interventions in any way, like no forceps or anything like that. But of course, everyone's story is different and everyone's birth is completely different as well. From what I've gathered now, the rate of how uncomfortable it is really depends on whether you're ready for labour or not. I actually had 2 done. The first one I had done when I was 39 weeks and 5 days, and then I had it done a second time when I was 40 weeks and 2 days. I didn't give birth until I was 40 weeks and 5 days, and I gave birth by being induced. So definitely I wasn't really ready, and I think that's why the stretch and sweeps didn't work. I think for people that really are kind of ready for labour but just need that extra little push, it's a lot more comfortable. But for me, because my body wasn't really ready for it, it was not pleasant. Everyone kind of said to me it's like having a pap smear done but a little bit more intense, which I guess it is, but I found it very extremely uncomfortable. I just did not, I mean, it's not something you enjoy. I just felt gross, and then afterwards I felt gross. I was kind of cramping and everything like that. So basically I was only just 1 centimetre, like a very small centimetre dilated, and my cervix is still quite long. So she actually had to end up putting a finger in and hooking it and then pulling down my cervix. So I think that's why it was really, really uncomfortable. I guess it did feel like a pap smear, but a lot more intense. Even the thought of it, I'm just like, ugh. Yeah, it was definitely unpleasant, very, very unpleasant. If I had to have it, like, I wouldn't want it done again, and I had it done twice. So yeah, it was pretty much painful. Yeah, it was painful. Not the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. That was labour. But yeah, I did not rate it at all. After it was done, it only took a few minutes, if that. Like, it was very, very quick, thankfully. After that, like, the rest of the day, I had it done in the afternoon. The rest of the day, I felt like crap. I felt agitated and just ugh. And then I felt really crampy. I was having kind of real strong period type cramps and just felt awful. So if you are going to have it done and you have the choice of when you can get it done, afternoon is best, because then it's not long until you go to bed and you don't have to worry about it. Because if you had it done during the day, probably the rest of the day you're going to feel like absolute crap, which is not fun. So yeah, the rest, it was just, yeah, nah. I also did have bleeding with it as well. So I had a fair bit of bleeding, and not like period level of bleeding, but you know, spotting and stuff like that. The next day I did lose my mucus plug, so yes, it did help, and it did help to start to, you know, get things moving and get things started to go as well. On my second stretch and sweep, which was 4 days later, I was a true centimetre dilated, so I had, you know, dilated that a little bit more to be like a proper centimetre, but my cervix was still quite high. She did say it had started to thin out a lot more. It didn't feel as hard as the previous stretch and sweep, but it was still, my cervix was still quite high, and they really need it to be quite low when you're ready to give birth. Again, that stretch and sweep wasn't pleasant either. I didn't have as much bleeding afterwards, only a tiny, tiny little bit, and I did have more mucus kind of come out as well. But yeah, that was my experience with a stretch and sweep. I know they are amazing for some people, and some people do go into labour the next day. I guess what it really comes down to is if you're ready for labour or not. And you know, everyone's body is so different, and I know so many people think you should just not bother and just let it happen naturally, but sadly for some people it just doesn't work that way. And with my family, it's, yeah, the odds are not in our favour. I think my nan was 2 weeks late with all of her kids. My mum was 2 weeks with me, and she had to be induced, and this little miss was induced when I was 40 weeks and 5 days. So I think if I wasn't induced then, I would probably still be pregnant now. But yeah, I think just all the women in our family have had trouble with their first kid, except my nan, who had trouble with all her kids. But yeah. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. I am going to be doing a labour vlog and also my experience with the Foley's catheter. So if you guys want to check out those videos, then do. And yeah, I love you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Every day is just another day you should be spending with me. And baby, you should find a way to stay at night. I promise.